What's up, guys? It is April 26, 2018. Welcome to a special edition of The Kingdom. I'm your host, Justin from Fortheloveofpicks.com. And we are here with the 2018 NFL Draft. I said earlier we'd go live and we'd do a little bit of preview, prediction, and analysis. So I'm going to kind of talk about the draft. I'm going to give you my prediction of the top five, and then we're going to watch the top five, and I'll give you my analysis of what I think about those picks. And then as the night goes on, I will come back live for certain picks. Got people on my Facebook page who are fans of certain teams, so I'll probably pick some specific teams and their picks and their draft order, and I'll go live and talk about those picks as the night goes on. We've got about 15 minutes until the first pick is going to come through, so we'll do all that before the start of the draft. That's who we're going to be waiting for. All right, so guys, go to fortheloveofpicks.com and the Facebook page and our YouTube channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel, like our Facebook page. Of course, subscribe on the website to get all of our free content. Live show The Kingdom, which normally airs Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, Saturday and Sunday at 12 p.m. Eastern. We are here, like I said, special NFL Draft Night edition tonight. And they're coming to the podium to do some special stuff. I can't tell who's there yet, but this is going to be a heavy quarterback draft, a little more than normal. As you'll see with my predictions, I have a couple quarterbacks going in the top five, but you're going to see a lot, probably in the top 10, top 15, unless somebody starts to drop. Of course, anybody keeping up knows that Josh Allen had some offensive tweets that went live or went public just today or yesterday, right before the draft. It always seems to happen that somebody's dirty laundry gets aired right as the draft starts. If I remember correctly, it was last year, the guy with the year before, the guy with the gas mask and the whip. Of course, it seems there's a guy that fails a drug test for marijuana every single year. There's some guy that has some kind of deal with marijuana every year. You know, one of these days they're going to legalize marijuana everywhere, and they're going to legalize it for the NFL, for the NBA, and you'll stop seeing some of those things being, you'll stop seeing those things being as big of an issue. With that said, going to get into kind of a preview of the first five draft picks for tonight, of course, are the Browns, Giants, Jets, Browns, Broncos. Those are the top five teams on the clock tonight. And the question is, will the Browns actually keep both of those picks? Or are they going to trade down, let somebody jump into that spot and grab a quarterback? Do the Broncos trade back and a lot of people think the Bills are the team that's looking for a quarterback, but if Josh Allen was the guy that they wanted to draft, they might not have to move up at all because there's a very good chance he's going to fall a little bit. Now, I've seen a lot of guys say that basically everybody should have already known about these tweets that Josh Allen made. So anybody with a really good PR department, a security department, whatever it's called, the guys that go out and try to find out background checks, stuff like that, they should have already known about this. So the question is, does this affect his draft stock at all? And there's some say it will, there's some say it won't. But if it does, the Bills might not need to trade up to get to him. So there's a question there. And we'll see how that goes, But the spots that are that you really would think that are possible, like it looks like the top three picks to me are going to stay where they are. I don't see the Giants or the Jets trading out of their spots. Not impossible, But I would not predict that my prediction would be is the more of the 4 and 5 spot is going to be your spot where people are jumping in and trading up. And even that 6 spot is a good possibility as well. And so we'll see if Josh Allen, if everybody remembers Aaron Rodgers infamously, slid down, and that's why he was able to get to Green Bay. And, of course, everybody knows this story of Aaron Rodgers. So, we'll see how far, if at all, Josh Allen slides down. And so they've got Roger Goodell and Troy Aikman coming out on the podium. Anybody who doesn't know, this is in Dallas. This is in Jerry World. This is at the new stadium. Anybody who knows me knows I'm a Cowboy fan, so it's heavy Cowboy themed. They're gonna have Cowboy players on the stage and everything. So Roger Goodell's being booed and made a joke about how people are booing the Cowboys because there's several players right now. Witten, Aikman, and they are booing Goodell hard. Of course, he suspended our running back last year, Ezekiel Elliott, so I'm going to assume that's probably where that's coming from. They have not stopped booing. They're going to boo him pretty heavily probably this whole time, I assume. So that's pretty funny. Anyway, not important for us at the moment. So kind of get into my predictions, because we're about 8 minutes away from getting a pick. So I'll give you my predictions of what I think is good, how this is going to work. And we'll see how it works. We'll see how close I get. So first pick of the draft is going to the Cleveland Browns. And I think the Cleveland Browns are going to take Baker Mayfield. There's a lot of talk today about Baker Mayfield going number 1. In my opinion, it's Baker Mayfield or it's Sam Darnold. I don't think Rosen or Josh Allen have a chance at being the number 1 pick here. I think Sam Darnold is, in my opinion, the only other possibility at this number 1 pick. So the question is, did Baker Mayfield do enough to jump up to that number 1 spot? Or do the Browns – I will say this, actually – small dark horse, the Browns could also take Saquon Barkley and then hope that Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold is available at the 4th spot. One of those have your cake and eat it too kind of picks where they try to get a stout right. Baker Mayfield, I think they want Baker Mayfield. I think they don't want to take the chance of Baker Mayfield not being there or Sam Darnold not being there, which there'd be no guarantee, because if they went with Saquon Barkley, number 2 and number 3, there could be those 2 guys, and then boom, here they are sitting at number 4. And if they want a quarterback, they got to decide between Allen and Rosen, and they might be okay with that. You know what I'm saying? They might decide that they want to take Rosen, and they might decide, well, hey, if we take Barkley at 1, not all 3 of these quarterbacks can go. So we'll take whichever quarterback falls. I just think that Baker Mayfield is the guy that they want. If this were my pick, I would take Baker Mayfield. That's what I would take. If I was looking for a quarterback, I think he's got I don't know if he's the most talented quarterback. He's kind of got that Drew Brees, Russell Wilson kind of prototype. But I think that he also just has this special it factor that I don't know if the other quarterbacks have it or not. So we're going to take Baker Mayfield. The Browns have Tyrod Taylor and Drew Stanton at the quarterback position. I think Baker Mayfield could compete with Tyrod Taylor immediately for that starting quarterback position. He's got that kind of moxie. He's got that kind of just that aura around him, I think. The Browns added Jarvis Landry, wide receiver, Demarius Randall, safety, and Carlos Hyde, running back. This Browns team is poised to make some noise. Maybe not next year, but 2 years from now, this Browns team could be a playoff team. They could be a really stout team if they can gel it all together. And it's all going to start with what they decide to do here at the number 1 spot. And I think if, the Browns have made so many mistakes at quarterback over the year. I don't know how you let your quarterback decision be left in the hands of other teams. So I think take Baker Mayfield number 1. And so that leads us to the number 2 pick, which is the New York Giants. As a Cowboy fan, I'm not a big fan of the New York Giants. They are one of our biggest rivals. I hate that. I think that they're going to do this. I hope that they don't. I wish they'd go maybe offensive line or defense, maybe a less impactful immediate pick possibly, although nobody's going to say that Bradley Chubb would not be impactful immediately. But I think Bradley Chubb is a possibility number 2 here if the Giants decide that they just can't go with a running back. But I don't know how you pass on Saquon Barkley. Their running back position looks like such. Jonathan Stewart and Wayne Gallman. Jonathan Stewart is at the back end of his career. Nobody's expecting Stewart to, be a 1,500-plus yard rusher. And, Wayne Gallman played in Clemson, so nothing against him. I love Wayne Gallman, but I don't see him as your everyday back either. And pairing Saquon Barkley with Jonathan Stewart would be an absolutely great pick. I would liken it to, what he did with the guy out of Stanford that his name escapes me right now that's in Carolina. That's who Jonathan Stewart came from Panthers. I think it's been a while though since he was with the Panthers. Now that I think about it, but you pair Thunder and Lightning again, with Jonathan Stewart being Thunder and Saquon Barkley being Lightning, and I think that's a really good choice for them. Giants added Nate Solder at left tackle, came over from New England, which is interesting because he's been beaten by the Giants before. But they also added Cody Latimer at wide receiver. So I think Saquon Barkley at number 2 is a smart pick here for the Giants. So that leads us to number 3 for the Jets. The New York Jets, 2 New York teams picking back-to-back. And the Jets – I'm going to take Sam Darnold. I think the Jets go quarterback, even though they added Teddy Bridgewater in the offseason. I don't think that they're going to be comfortable with Teddy Bridgewater being the guaranteed quarterback. They added Andre Roberts at wide receiver and Terrell Pryor Sr. So they need somebody to throw it to him. And they added Trumaine Jackson at quarterback on the defense. I think the Jets go quarterback. So if the Jets are going to go quarterback, to me, if Baker Mayfield's still on the board, if they go Sam Darnold, they'll go Baker Mayfield. And there, of course, there is the possibility of them taking Rosen instead. But I just think Sam Darnold's the more polished quarterback, and I think he'll go before Rosen. So that leads us back to Cleveland with our 4th pick, and I want to say that this is possibly where they trade and come back a couple spots when somebody come up and get their quarterback, because you wonder if the Broncos are going to take him at 5. And Sam Darnold, Baker Mayfield, assuming already off the board, Rosen or Allen are your 2 next choices. Do the Bills think they need to trade up to get Rosen, to get Allen? Do they think that he might fall a little bit? So it's, that's always a possibility, but I'm going to predict this as if the Browns pick here. And if they trade it, it's a quarterback. It's Rosen, or if Darnold or Mayfield are not off the board for some reason, it's one of them. But if they don't trade this pick, the Browns are going to take Bradley Chubb. Because if you can get your quarterback and your another corner piece on the defense, Jabril Peppers is who Cleveland took before, and so adding Bradley Chubb to that mix would be an amazing pick. Getting Chubb and Baker Mayfield would be a victory, if you ask me. And I think that they'd love to take maybe Barkley and Baker Mayfield in somewhere in that combination. And if Barkley is still around, you might see that. If Barkley's around for the number 4 spot, I don't know how you don't add that to the mix. But I don't think he's around, so Bradley Chubb is my prediction for the number 4 pick, which leads us to the Broncos and the last pick in the top 5. And the first maybe non-sexy pick, because so far you've got 2 quarterbacks, a running back, and a defensive end that, are all expected to be superstars. And then you got the Broncos. The Broncos added Case Keenum at quarterback in the offseason. And so, Case Keenum's kind of a placeholder. Do they go quarterback here? I think maybe if Darnold or Mayfield were still around, probably. But since he's not, I think they're going to take Quentin Nelson, the top guard on the board, add to the offensive line to go around Case Keenum and to prepare for a quarterback in the future. And so that's my top 5. Just to recap, before we get, they're about to, the pick is in. They're about to go live with this pick. Baker Mayfield 1, Saquon Barkley 2, Sam Darnold 3, Bradley Chubb 4, Quentin Nelson 5. That's my prediction for tonight's draft. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. The pick is in right now, so we're gonna find out right now who are the Browns gonna draft with the first pick in tonight's draft. Doesn't look like they traded it, so we're getting a pick. Here we go. Baker Mayfield, number 1 to the Cleveland Browns. And it seems like there's a mixed reaction of boos and cheers. Oh, my God, there's guys. Okay. I thought that guy was taking off his Cleveland Browns jersey to throw it away, but he had a Baker Mayfield hoodie underneath. Guys, remember Baker Mayfield was a walk-on and just became the first pick in the 2018 NFL draft. I don't know if he's there or not. I don't think he is. Yeah, he walked on at Texas Tech, if anybody forgets. Left after a season, and then, of course, the rest is history. Walked on at Oklahoma, became the starting quarterback in 2015. Heisman Trophy winner, AP Player of the Year, 33-6 record while at Oklahoma, and now the number 1 pick in the NFL draft in 2018, Baker Mayfield. Well, so first pick, just as I expected, Baker Mayfield. So keep in mind when it comes to predicting a draft like this, if a piece comes off the board that's different, everything almost kind of changes. So with Baker Mayfield going just like we expected, that leaves the board looking like I expected it to, with the Giants at number 2 and not having the option of taking Baker Mayfield. There's always the possibility that the Giants could take a quarterback with number 2, but I don't know. Again, if you're going to play Eli Manning this year, if you're not going to play this guy, I mean, I'm not against, taking your quarterback and putting him behind somebody else and letting them come into his own and train for a little bit. They're showing the Browns draft room. They're pretty happy about Baker Mayfield. Of course, there was never any worry that they weren't going to get Mayfield because with the number 1 pick, there's nobody picking ahead of them. So Baker Mayfield was always, the Browns never had to worry about losing Mayfield. But they got Mayfield. They get their number 1 pick. And so starting off good, Baker Mayfield goes number 1, just like I predicted. And like I said, that will keep the board looking the way that I thought it would. So that gets us the Giants at number 2. That means Saquon Barkley is still there. And excuse me, I say 2, but there's Josh Rosen, Josh Allen, and Sam Darnold, all still available at the quarterback position. Baker Mayfield career done. You know what, Andy? I'm going to disagree with you. All right, and I'm going to tell you why. All right, because the Browns are finally going to get this right, and that's why his career is not done. The Browns are finally going to get this right. It's kind of like Philadelphia. They went through all that losing. They trusted the process. They've got tons of draft picks over the last couple of years. Of course, some that failed. But they added Jarvis Landry. They added Jarvis Landry. They added Demarius Randall, Carlos Hyde at the running back. Depending on what they do at number 4 spot, if they get Bradley Chubb and add to that defense, next year the Browns will still be bad. But mark my words, 2 years from now, the Browns could possibly be a winning team playing for the playoffs. All right. Now, I'm not going to guarantee you that Mayfield ever wins any championships or that he ever does anything spectacular. And you might be right. In the end, going to the Browns, if they do nothing, you could possibly call that his career not being worth much. But I'm telling you, the Browns are not going to be 0-16 next year, and they're not going to be as bad as they've been in the past. So keep that in mind and think about this. It might be Mayfield that's at the top of that list of reasons why. If he turns out to be like Russell Wilson or Drew Brees, which is what everybody's comparing him to, we'll see what happens with him. He might not be a Brown forever, though. Second pick, Saquon Barkley. I told you. Number 2, they took Saquon Barkley, and Giants fans are absolutely ecstatic. So first 2 picks, absolutely correct so far. Mayfield number 1, Saquon Barkley is now a Giant. I hate it. I hate it as a Cowboy fan. We now have to contend with this guy at the running back position. I would have much rather just had to mess with Jonathan Stewart. This changes everything, though. I think the Browns were hoping Barkley might fall to that 4 spot. I think the Browns definitely take Bradley Chubb number 4 if the Jets don't take him at number 3 next. Let's see what not Drew Brees, average O-line. Can't see downfield, will get destroyed if he rolls out. All the stats, might go against him, but it's just one of those things where I'm going to bet on Baker Mayfield. I just think he has the it factor. I think he'll find a way to overcome it. Look at Russell Wilson. We're starting to find out that the Seahawks, they're not that good. They don't have a good O-line. Their O-line is horrible. The same reasons that you're saying. They're not very tall. They're probably a little bit taller maybe than the Browns. But Russell Wilson in the last couple of years is kind of been exposed a little bit. I've had him a lot in fantasy football. I lived in Washington, so I saw him a lot up front and up close. And I'm telling you, Russell Wilson's been exposed a little bit because of a lot of the things that you just said, but he's found a way to still win games because at the end of the day, Russell Wilson has that it factor. He's a superstar. The guy could be playing Major League Baseball right now if he wanted to. And I think I'm going to bet on Baker Mayfield to just be some kind of talent. And again, that does not mean that he'll ever do anything worth a damn in Cleveland. And it does not necessarily mean that he's going to win championships. But I really like Baker Mayfield's moxie, man. Like I just, as a gambler, he's not somebody I would want to bet against. Who are the Panthers going to take? That's a good question. Based on what I've got going in the top 5, let's see. Where are the Panthers drafting at? What's their draft pick? I don't remember where they're picking at. They're in the later round, right? They're like 24, I think, 23, 24. Isn't that where they're at? They're at the back end of the draft. I could see them taking I could see them going wide receiver. The Panthers love to draft wide receivers in the first round. Or so it seems. Maybe it just seems that way to me. Okay, here comes the order. Buccaneers are at 7. Let's see. Yeah, I don't see. I think I was right. I think the Panthers are at number 24. I don't know. Let's see.
You didn't get to Dallas until late last night because this is only the great thing to happen to you this week. Show everybody you're still wearing the hospital band.
Saquon Barkley had a kid that was born Tuesday, Jada Claire Barkley. God, I tell you what, man, it seems like all of these guys are dads before they even make it to the NFL. And if you're asking why that's funny, is because these guys are 21, 22 years old. And, you know, being a dad when you're just became an NFL player might be a little bit easier financially, but having to juggle being an NFL star and being a good father, that's, whew. Boy, that sounds like a tough, you know. I love my kids, so, you know, congratulations to them. But it just seems like every year the majority of these guys are either already fathers or they're becoming fathers. We got the Jets coming up at number 3. I think everything's falling in place for the Jets to go exactly like I said, to go Sam Darnold here. The question is do they want a quarterback or not? I don't see why. I don't see how you can trust Teddy Bridgewater as your quarterback. I forget who else. They've got another guy there, and I can't remember who it is, but he's not your starter. He's your backup, if anything, third string if Bridgewater ends up becoming the backup. I don't see how you don't. Like I said, Sam Darnold looks like the pick here. While we're waiting for that, I'm gonna look up. I had a page that I was looking at that kind of had a lot of the guys that are on the board, you know, because I didn't memorize a lot of these players' names. I know some of the mainstays, of course. You know, all the people that are going to be drafted in the top 5, top 10. But, you know, after that, there's some guys that I'm not 100% sure. So I'm going to quickly look up the draft board. Yeah, they're even talking about on the TV which quarterback will they go with, pretty much as if they're guaranteed to go with a quarterback. So, here we go, third pick.
With the third pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the New York Jets select
Sam Darnold. Here we go. 3 for 3 so far, guys. I should be an NFL draft analyst. 3 for 3 so far. Sam Darnold is a New York Jet. You know, and I don't think that all 3 of these picks are guaranteed. Like, I think Barkley was questionable whether he could go number 2, and Baker Mayfield, I think, up until today would have been a shock at number 1. So I don't think there was any guarantees with those. I think Sam Darnold going 3 makes a lot of sense because I think the Jets are like, damn, he should have gone number 1. We never should have even gotten Sam Darnold. The Jets are licking their chops right now, if you ask me. So let's find where. Okay, so Andy, to answer your question about what you said earlier, and I had looked this up earlier when I looked at the draft board. I think the Panthers are going to go cornerback. I think wide receiver is always a possibility, but I think they're going to go cornerback. I've looked at a couple different places. If I had to take a stab, Jair Alexander out of Louisville is a very good possibility for you guys at 24. You guys need secondary help, so I don't see how you don't take a quarterback. You're also in a good spot to trade in the second round, so Christian McCaffrey was the name of the guy. I couldn't remember. Josh Jackson is another guy from Iowa. But I don't know if he'll still be on the board. Nick Chubb at 55. Yeah, but I'll be honest with you. A lot of places I've seen have predicted that you guys are going to trade that pick to move up and take another defensive player. So it depends. If you guys trade up, I don't see you taking Nick Chubb any earlier than 55th. So if you guys trade up into the earlier part of the second round, you'd be probably giving up that 55th pick to get there. So no, it all depends. If you don't trade it, yeah, I can see Nick Chubb as a possibility. You guys are looking for a running back to pair maybe with Christian McCaffrey going forward. Another Thunder and Lightning pairing maybe. I can definitely see that. But question is, does Chubb stay on the board till 55th? So I don't know. So far, so good, though. 3 picks on the board, exactly the way I thought they would go. So far, guys, we've been live for about 33 minutes. Not sure how long we're going to go with this. I had said that we'd maybe come off after the top 5 and then come on by a pick-to-pick basis, but I'm enjoying this. Got a couple people on in the live show on Facebook. Of course, we're also live on YouTube as well. So, as long as people keep coming and as long as we've got this going on, I'll keep going, guys. I'm definitely interested to see what the Buccaneers do at 7. I bet Logan's probably at work, so probably won't see Logan. Love to get him in here for that 7th pick. That'd be fun. So number 4 in each second now, 3 minutes and 50 seconds. See what Cleveland's doing. A lot of times when there's a lot of time being taken up against the pick, you always have the possibility of a trade going through. So we'll see if any of that comes to fruition. If I had the number 1 pick in the draft, unless I was just sold on Bradley Chubb at number 4. I was sold that whoever I wanted at number 4, I couldn't get it at number 5, 6, 7, 8, anywhere else. I would trade down. I'd be shocked if the Browns haven't at least been on the phone. Here's what's interesting. If anybody watched the movie NFL Draft or Draft Day, or I think it was called Draft Day or Draft, some draft. I think it was Draft Day. It was about the Cleveland Browns. And it's funny in that, you know, it didn't start out that way, but they, you know, they went from having the certain, I think they had the 7th pick, and then they traded up, and then they had the 1st pick, and then they traded back from the 1st pick, or maybe they take the first. I don't know. They trade up and get another. They end up getting all 3 of the guys that they wanted. It's kind of a cheesy movie. I was a little disappointed. It wasn't what I was hoping when I saw Draft Day. I think that's what it's called. Hell yeah, a movie about the NFL draft, but it didn't turn out to be very exciting. But Browns, same guys that were kind of mixed reactions about the number 1 pick, Baker Mayfield, are now at number 4. So everything went exactly how I thought it would go. I don't know how the Browns thought it would go. I don't know if they thought that Darnold and Barkley would be the next 2 picks off the board. I'm sure that they have their people that get their feelers out there, so I'm sure they have some kind of inkling or idea, but maybe they probably don't know for sure. But the pick is in, so the Browns at number 4, unless they are trading this pick to somebody else, it looks like we're gonna get looks like we're gonna be up against that 5th pick to see if we actually get a trade in the top 5. Here we go. Browns at number 4. Remember, number 1, Baker Mayfield. Number 2, Saquon Barkley. Number 3, Sam Darnold. Will we be 4 for 4 tonight? And will they take Bradley Chubb? Wow. Browns come in with a shocker. They took Denzel Ward at quarterback. Hometown hero. Kind of like draft day. That's funny. In draft day, they draft one guy and then they draft another guy who's like the hometown kid. Dad played for the Browns the whole 9 yards. A little shocked that they passed up the opportunity to take Bradley Chubb, but Denzel Ward is a solid pick at cornerback. I had Denzel Ward going in the top 10. I think I had him at like 7 or 8 somewhere, whoever the next team on the board that was looking defense or cornerback. So 3 out of 4 ain't bad. I was hoping to go 5 for 5. Of course, Bradley Chubb not getting drafted at 4 affects the number 5 spot. The Broncos now have the ability to take Bradley Chubb if they want. And, of course, there's still 2 quarterbacks that people are looking at, talking about, sitting there at number 5. And it'll be interesting to see how the Broncos round out this top 5. Anybody who knows, I lived in Colorado for over a year. I was around a lot of Broncos fans. I lived in Colorado Springs, and I lived in Colorado the year that the Broncos won the Super Bowl. Yep, sure did. Yep. So the Broncos are now on the board at the number 5 spot. Got a really interesting commercial on the TV screen. So Denver Broncos at number 5. Bradley Chubb still on the board. Quentin Nelson at play. 2 quarterbacks. Be interesting to see what these Broncos do. Case Keenum, the quarterback now. The Broncos, I think the Broncos were in play for Kirk Cousins, but of course Kirk Cousins actually signed with the Vikings. And I feel like they added time to that timer. So we'll take a little bit of time to remind you guys, fortheloveofpicks.com is the website. Go to the website and subscribe to the YouTube channel and the Facebook page. Like the Facebook page, subscribe to the channel so you're getting all of our free content. You'll be notified when we go live, and you'll get all of our free videos, our parlay picks, our upset alerts. Of course, while we're waiting, why don't we take a look at some of our picks from today's show while we have a moment. Before I went live, the Penguins are down 1-0, but the Rays were winning 5-0, so we were looking good on our 7.5. And then, of course, our NBA game of over of 200, that should have started already. It did. So let's get an update on these scores. Well, we're waiting 4 minutes and 10 seconds for the Denver Broncos to trade their pick or not trade their pick. Celtics are winning 24-17. That's not a bad start. We need a couple more baskets, and we'll be pretty close to the 50 points that we want to be near in each quarter. We'll need a quarter where we go over. Penguins still losing to the Capitals 1-0. And Rays and Orioles 8-2, so we covered there. So we already have one victory in our Orioles Rays over at 6-2. All we had to do is cover the 7.5, so we covered that. We're losing on the Penguins and Capitals. 24-20 is the score in the Celtics-Bucks game. So we just need them to pick the scoring up in the second and third quarter, and we'll be good on that over of 200. So this little update on those picks. And the Broncos pick is in. They're doing a little highlight, real former quarterbacks. And I don't know if they think that the Broncos are going to take a quarterback here. You'd think that with them showing a highlight video of all the quarterbacks that have gone in different spots in the NFL draft. Still got Josh Rosen sitting on the board. Of course, still got Josh Allen, but I think Allen's going to fall. So I don't even think that – I think he's going to fall a little bit at least. Of course, this is in Dallas. Cowboys are at 19. So I'll definitely, no matter what we end up doing, I'll definitely be live when we go with the Cowboys pick. All right, so we've got a kid in a wheelchair on stage to give out the 5th pick. That's awesome. The NFL always doing stuff like this with charity and the Play 60 and St. Jude's, all their work with St. Jude's, great. So he's going to announce the 5th pick. That's pretty cool. And we'll see what the Broncos do here at 5, and then we'll kind of go from there. Coming up on 45 minutes, we might go the hour, see what happens, and then come live for other picks. We'll go live. We'll be live for the Panthers pick at 24. We'll be live for the Cowboys pick at 19. We'll definitely be live for the Buccaneers pick at 7. So we'll probably just stay on for that. All right, so the Broncos took Bradley Chubb. And that is a direct result of Chubb not going number 4. I'd love to see what their draft board looks like, just because I think they would have taken Quentin Norris. I think they took the best player on the board. And I think without Bradley Chubb there, I think unless they take the cornerback that was just taken, Ward, I think he would have been that – Quentin Nelson would have been that 5th pick. But either way, we got the first 3 right, and then we were derailed by that 4th pick, Bradley Chubb. But Bradley Chubb goes in the top 5. So 4 out of the 5 guys we thought would go in the top 5, all off the board now. And that, of course, leaves Quentin Nelson still available for whoever needs a guard. That leaves us with the Indianapolis Colts up at number 6. It'll be interesting to see what they do. They definitely are not going to get a quarterback. And we still don't know when their quarterback will be playing again, which, of course, that is Andrew Luck. The Andrew Luck situation is a weird situation. I had Andrew Luck in fantasy last year, and you know, of course, I made another championship and got second place. My 4th championship in, I think, 6 years. And, yeah, 4th championship in 6 years. All 4, I've been a runner-up, never won. If I had to put any emphasis on which one of my picks went wrong, taking Andrew Luck was definitely rough. I struggled with quarterback all year long. So had I taken a solid quarterback, maybe we'd have had a different story in the championship. So the Colts, they were quick. They saw Bradley Chubb go off at 5. They knew exactly who they wanted to take at 6. Yeah, I'm shocked Bradley Chubb fell. I predicted him to fall to 4, you know, and the reason I thought he'd fall to 4 is just because of my thought on those top 3 picks. You know, of course, there's a lot of people that think Bradley Chubb is better than all 3 of those first picks because of value, where they were taken. Mayfield 1, Saquon Barkley 2, Darnold 3. You know, there's a lot of people that think Bradley Chubb would have been the best pick on the board, but it's not what those teams needed. So at least not needed as much as what they took. And, of course, there's always the sexy appeal of the running back pick at number 2. Makes your fan base happy. Look how the Giants fan base reacted when they took Saquon Barkley at number 2. They would have probably liked Bradley Chubb at number 2, but I don't know if you get the same reaction. The Broncos, the reason you got the reaction to the Broncos taking Bradley Chubb is he has no business still being around at number 5. And, again, it's all about need, not, you know, Bradley Chubb, a lot of boards, number 1 pick. So I think Bradley Chubb is probably your best athlete, best player on the board. You know, if you were picking just solely, all right, who's the best player at number 1, Bradley Chubb probably should have gone number 1. Remember, the Colts traded up to number 6 with the Jets. So what did they trade up to get?
With the 6th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Indianapolis Colts select Quentin Nelson.
Quentin Nelson. Yep. Yeah, see, and I would have told you that Quentin Nelson would go number 6 to the Colts because they need somebody that can protect Andrew Luck so he doesn't get hurt again. And I didn't predict this because I had him going at number 5. I didn't think Bradley Chubb would still be there. So everything got moved along. But this is a smart pick. Makes sense. You know, I don't know if, you know, 6'5", 325. Don't know if he's, you know, who knows if he'll pan out. But you have to try to put somebody that can protect Andrew Luck. You've got way much money invested in Andrew Luck to not have him on the field. You hadn't had him on the field in 2 years almost. So this is a make sense kind of pick. And then, of course, now we have the Buccaneers at number 7. Interested to see what Logan's Tampa Bay Buccaneers do. I wish we could have Logan. Like I've said anybody who knows him, I wish we could have Logan on live. He's probably working, but for whatever reason or another, he's a Tampa Bay Buccaneers fan. I rib Logan a lot about his sports because he's all over the map with who he pulls for in his sports teams. And he's a Buccaneers fan in football. And it'd been fun to have him on, see what he thought about who they were going to take at number 7. Anyway, Got about 5 minutes while we wait for that pick to come in. And again, we're coming up on 50 minutes to an hour. We'll see. Let's see how it keeps going. We'll keep doing it if you know, people keep coming in. We'll keep talking about it. Like I said, we'll definitely be live at 19 for the Cowboys pick, and definitely be live at 24 for the Panthers pick. So most likely when I come back, you know, by the time we get later on in the draft, it seems like it takes a little bit less time. I don't know if that'll be in play when we get to 19, but we'll probably stay live 19 through 24. See how maybe we want. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Of course, again, guys, fortheloveofpicks.com is the website. Go to the website, and of course, we have 100% free picks for you 7 days a week, 365 days a year. Join us live Monday through Friday on The Kingdom, 4 p.m. Eastern. And then Saturdays and Sundays, we are live at 12 p.m. Eastern. Weekends are always great. Always have a lot of games on the weekends. Of course, that makes sense. People can watch sports more on the weekends than they can during the week. Not that there's not a lot of sports during the week, but it's a Thursday. Thursday is usually moving day. Thursday is usually moving day, so baseball teams are moving to the cities where they'll be playing their weekend matchups. So small card on Thursdays. Bigger card on – and here we go. Look at that. The Buccaneers just traded their pick to the Buffalo Bills. We knew the Buffalo Bills were going to come into play at some point to get their quarterback, and to see what Logan thinks about his team and trading out of the 7th spot to the Buffalo Bills. Very interesting. So not the Buccaneers picking at 7 like we thought. The Buffalo Bills picking at 7, guys. So we'll see who the Penguins take, or excuse me, who the Bills take at that number 7 spot. And let's see if we can get a little update on our games. Into the second period, Penguins still down 1-0. Of course, we already covered the Rays and Orioles over 7.5. And I'll tell you, the one thing that always comes into play as a sports bettor is, why did I not more? You know what I'm saying? Like, no matter how big you are in a game, when you win, you're always like, dang, why wasn't I bigger? I was really high on that 7.5. It was just too low. So we've got a winner already at that 7.5. Now we just need the Penguins to come back. They're only down 1-0. The Bucks to start doing some scoring. Best thing that could happen to us there is an overtime game. Hopefully the Bucks fighting for their playoff lives at the end of this game. Be interested to see what the Bills gave the Buccaneers for that 7th overall pick. They haven't put it up on the board yet. Says that they were in play at the number 4 spot, but the price was too much. But it didn't matter. No quarterback has come off the board since the number 3 spot. So the Bills and you look at this list: Todd Collins, Van Pelt, Doug Flutie, Johnson, Drew Bledsoe, J.P. Lossman, Kelly Holcomb, Trent Edwards, Ryan Fitzpatrick, Brian Brom, E.J. Manuel, Thad Lewis, Jeff Toole, Kyle Orton, Matt Castle, Tyrod Taylor, Nathan Peterman. Those are all the quarterbacks that have played for the Bills since Jim Kelly was the quarterback. If I counted right, that was 17 quarterbacks since somewhere in the 90s when Jim Kelly stopped playing. Oof. You know, depending on when he actually retired, which I don't remember what year, that's not even a quarterback for 2 years apiece. They're going to take Rosen.
2018 NFL Draft. The Buffalo Bills select Josh Allen.
No. No, they did not bail on Josh Allen. One of the two Joshes were going to go. I thought they might bail on Rosen, or excuse me, bail on Allen and take Rosen, but you know, it makes sense. The Bills wanted Allen from the get-go. They talked about moving up to draft him. Very interesting. You know, there was a point where Josh Rosen was thought to be the #1 pick. And, of course, they went through all of them. Allen was thought to be the #1. Darnold, Baker Mayfield now recently. But now Darnold's off the board, Mayfield's off the board, Allen's off the board, and Josh Rosen's still available. So the next team that wants a quarterback, Josh Rosen's the guy that's going to be drafted. Unless somebody decides to take Lamar Jackson from Louisville a lot earlier than expected, which I'm not even going to get into my opinion on Lamar Jackson. Hopefully I'm wrong. I hope he's not the bust that I think he's going to be, but I think he's a bust. Of course, one of the things you got to do in the sports world is put yourself out there. You know what I'm saying? Like it's easy to sit here and say this might happen or that might happen, but one of the things you got to do is be strong with your opinions and convictions. And so if you think somebody's going to be a bust, don't worry about saying it on air. You know, and, you know, somebody giving you shit about it later because, you know, it's okay to be wrong sometimes. And be interesting to see what Chicago does at number 8. You know, I think what we'll do is we're going to stay on live. We'll keep going at least through the top 10. And if we don't get any more traffic by then, we'll go on and cut off, and we'll come back at 19 for the Carolina Panthers pick. Unless draft order's coming up. So let's just kind of go through and see who's coming up in the next few picks. I wonder if they'll ask Josh Allen any questions about the tweets that he made. Of course, that was why everybody thought that he might fall, were the insensitive tweets that he made. Yeah, they asked him if he felt like he had to go out of his way to address things, and he said no, but that he probably would. Okay. All right, so at number 8, we got the Bears, 49ers at 9. Raiders at 10, Dolphins at 11, Buccaneers now at 12, Redskins at 13, Packers at 14. All right, so the Bills got a 7th overall pick. They took Josh Allen. They get a 7th round pick in this draft, and this is what they gave to get it. They gave up the 12th overall pick, so the Bills moved back 5 spots. Excuse me, the Buccaneers moved back 5 spots. They got the 53rd pick and the 56th pick overall. Those are 2 second-round picks. So the Bills gave up those 2 second-round picks, which everybody knew that's what they'd be trading to move up. So the Buccaneers now get to draft at 12, and which is still a solid spot at the beginning of the first round, and they're getting 2 extra second-round picks to go along with. I'm pretty sure they already have their own second-round pick, unless they don't, unless they traded it already for some reason. So, Buccaneers going to have lots to rebuild with, and that's right there is why you trade up and trade back. You trade up to get a player that you're sold on. The Bills at 12 obviously did not think that Josh Allen was going to be available there. You know, looking at Chicago doesn't need a quarterback. Looking at San Francisco doesn't need a quarterback. Looking at Oakland doesn't need a quarterback. I don't know who number 11 is, but Of course, you don't just trade up because you think other teams are going to take them at those spots. You also trade up because you think that other teams will trade up to get those. So the reason that you move up to number 7 and you take him there is because you think that somebody's going to move up to number 8, number 9, number 10. And once they're at that spot, you can't get them. And so Bears pick is in, so we'll see what the Bears have to say in today's draft. They're the number 8 pick. Of course, they took a quarterback last year. And we'll see. They're not going to take a quarterback here. We'll see what – I'm thinking they took Mitchell Trubisky last year. They moved up to get him. Need somebody to throw it to. Wide receiver. They took a linebacker, though. Bears bolstering that defense. Roquan Smith from Georgia. Georgia native. Got a lot of people from Georgia who joined the show. Of course, everybody knows I'm from South Carolina, so know a lot of people from Georgia. So, of course, he originally committed to UCLA. He almost was a California boy. Of course, I'm out here in wonderfully, beautifully sunny Anaheim, California, in between Anaheim and Orange County. Anaheim, just depends on where I'm at. Right now, I'm in Orange. Going to be going to the beach here soon. Into April, it's beginning of May. Prime time to go to the beach. And, of course, it's just going to keep getting hotter as the summer goes. Going to live at the beach. And you'll see some live shows from the beach. Probably, when we do the live shows from the beach, you'll be done from my phone. I'm not going to take my laptop to the beach, get sand in it. But we'll do some beach day shows. That'll be fun. Of course, we haven't done a live show in a crowd of people, but I have no problem doing it. Anybody who knows me knows that I have no problem getting up in front of crowds and talking, singing, whatever it is. So we'll do some live shows from the beach. I plan on doing a show from Dodger Stadium and Angel Stadium at some point during this Major League Baseball season. We originally planned on doing I was going to do one from the Anaheim Ducks arena, but they got swept in 4 games and never made it to a playoff game. I was going to go either the back half of the first round or maybe even wait and see if they made it to the second round, but it just didn't work out. And, the Lakers aren't in the playoffs. And I'm not close. I don't drive right now. So I'm not going to be going to any Warriors games. So with that said, we're waiting on the 49ers at the number 9 pick. 4 minutes to go on the clock. Take some time to remind you guys, fortheloveofpicks.com is the website. Go to the YouTube channel and subscribe. Go to the Facebook page and hit the like button. You'll be notified of all of our live content, all of our original videos. And, of course, Monday through Friday at 4 p.m. Eastern, The Kingdom. Saturdays and Sundays at 12 p.m. Eastern. On the website, 100% free picks, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. And then on the live show, you'll get the best valued picks that I have to offer. And then, of course, everybody knows by now my platinum picks, my platinum package area. You go to the platinum package. You can get daily picks or you can get a week or a month. And basically what you're going to do is for either a week or for a month, you're going to get my 2 best picks every single day. And I guarantee that you'll make money. And if you don't, I'll offer you your money back or a credit towards another week or another month. And so, if you think about it, with our guarantee, if for some odd reason you happen to jump on board when I was doing bad and we just had 2 weeks in a row where I wasn't doing good. You're going to get the third week, and if the third week isn't profitable, you're going to get the fourth week, and eventually you're going to get a profitable week, and you'll be, but that's not going to happen. I've never gone 4 weeks without a profit. If I went 4 weeks without a profit, I wouldn't be doing this. So I've gone 4 weeks where I didn't do very well. Don't get me wrong. And everybody knows this is a process. It's a marathon, as I said before. It's a marathon, not a sprint. So, when it comes to your betting, if you have a couple weeks that are bad, you don't give up. You just hunker down and do a little bit better. But I guarantee you I'm not going to have 4 weeks of not profit. And I very seldomly go multiple weeks without a profit. So with that said, 49ers are up. This is going to be a hot team coming in next year. Everybody's going to be picking the 49ers to do something. And they take an offensive tackle, Mike McGlinchey, and everybody is sad. The air let out of the room because nobody knows who Mike McGlinchey is. Mike McGlinchey is an offensive tackle out of Notre Dame. Our second lineman off the board out of Notre Dame. They just make them in factories in Notre Dame. So, well, corn-fed boys up there in Notre Dame for sure. So one more pick in the first 10. And we might come back live. We'll probably come back live at 12. I'll come back live at 12 and see what the Buccaneers do. And then we'll come back live at 19, see what the Panthers do. We'll come back live at 24 to see what the Cowboys do. And then randomly maybe some other teams. And that'll be it. Not going to do anything past the first round because I want to get into watching I want to watch the second half of the basketball game. So I'll be coming over for those picks specifically because I'll be switching back and forth between basketball and the draft. So as we wait for our final pick on tonight's draft show before we come off and then come back randomly for the other picks, we're going to get a little update on how our other two picks are doing. 43 to 37 is the score of the Bucks and Celtics game with 2 minutes to go. That's not looking good for us, actually. Teams tend to score more points in the second half than they do in the first half, in my opinion. A lot of times it has to do with the third quarter being that transitional quarter. And then, of course, fourth quarter being kind of like your desperation quarter. But in my opinion, we need to at least hit somewhere around 90 points. We don't want to have to do too much in that second half. 100 seems like a lot when you're only scoring 90 points in the first half. So we need these guys to pick up the scoring a little bit more, and might even need overtime to hit that over. And then, of course, the Penguins are still down 1-0 to the Capitals. So, and as everybody remember, we already covered the 7.5, so we're guaranteed the victory on that one. We're just waiting for that game to go final before your money goes into your account. And just put up on the TV, the Oakland Raiders have traded their pick, the 10th pick, to the Arizona Cardinals. So the Cardinals are picking at 10. And to be honest with you, I think unless, again, like I said, somebody's going to take a chance on Lamar Jackson, I think this is going to be Josh Rosen at the 10th pick. We already knew that the teams that were going to be trading up were going to be trading up to get quarterbacks. 4 quarterbacks. We knew 4 quarterbacks were coming off the board. The question was how quickly would all 4 come off, and we look like we have a chance here where we could have all 4 of those quarterbacks coming off in the top 10. It's been a while since I saw 4 quarterbacks go in the top 10. Other possibilities for the Cardinals, I mean, they already have a running back. Wide receiver is a possibility, but, you know, I don't know if there's any wide receivers that are top 10 quality wide receivers in this year's draft. So I could see maybe a quarterback. They did let the Honey Badger go.
This is interesting. I mean, this is where it's interesting because there are a million ways they could go.
Yeah, and they're talking about this. There's so many different ways they could go. Sam Bradford is the quarterback in Arizona. They picked him up in free agency after he left the Vikings. Of course, Sam Bradford played for the Vikings last year, but he was hurt. And do you go into the season with Sam Bradford as your starting quarterback, knowing his injury history, and you don't draft at least a replacement for him at some point? You don't have to play Rosen immediately. Any kind of questions you have about him or his character, you can work on that. So,
really, it's a sneaky destination place for a young quarterback. Or if I'm Lamar Jackson or Josh Rosen, I'm not angry right now.
Yeah, and they're talking about Lamar Jackson too. So there's obviously some thought process that Lamar Jackson could possibly go before Rosen, depending on who the Cardinals like. You know, I'll tell you this, the chances of 5 quarterbacks all having solid, top 10 draft careers is very slim. Chances that somebody in these 5 quarterbacks, or the 4 that are going to be drafted in the top 10, whichever one this ends up being, because I think it's going to be a quarterback. Chances of all 4 quarterbacks being, panning out and not at least one of them being a bust, how big of a bust? Ryan Leaf kind of bust? Maybe not. Of course, if anybody remembers Ryan Leaf was the quarterback who went second after Peyton Manning went first to the Colts. Ryan Leaf went second to the Chargers and was an absolute bust, never did anything, in and out of prison a lot of his life after his career was over. Anger issues, famous for yelling at reporters in the locker room, all kinds of stuff. So I don't know if we'll see that kind of bust, but I think we're going to see a quarterback here at number 10. And then we're going to finish up our NFL draft show on fortheloveofpicks.com and the Kingdom. Of course, special broadcast of the Kingdom live for the 2018 NFL draft. And here's what the trade was. It's kind of similar to what we already saw, except a couple picks further back. No 7th round pick given out, but the Raiders got the 15th overall pick, so they moved back from 10 to 15, and then they got a 3rd and 5th round pick. All right, yeah, so there's never been 4 quarterbacks in the top 10. So if he goes here, one of them goes here, it's the first time ever.
With the 10th pick in the 2018 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select
Josh Rosen. 4 quarterbacks off the board in the top 10. I bet the Cardinals are pretty happy with getting Josh Rosen. They probably didn't think that he'd be available at number 10. Of course, for all we know, they wanted all 3 of the other quarterbacks more than Josh Rosen. But I said earlier, Rosen started off as what was made believed to be the most pro-ready quarterback, and he's the last one to go on the board because I think everybody thinks that the other 3 have more upside. But remember, he was a first true freshman quarterback to ever start a UCLA opener. And, I'm going to go out on a limb here. Other than Baker Mayfield, I predict that Josh Rosen will have the most success in the NFL. I think he'll have more success than Josh Allen, and I think he'll have more success than Sam Darnold. And with Darnold, it'll be close, and maybe even with Allen, it'll be close. But I'm just going to go out on a limb and say Rosen should have been taken before these other guys. But that's just me taking a chance, going out on a limb. So with that said, guys, that's the end of our NFL draft show. Thanks to everybody who joined us. Shout out to everybody there. Of course, guys, if you can take a chance and hit the like button. It takes just a second to hit the like button. We always appreciate the like button being hit for us. Fortheloveofpicks.com. Go to the website. Go to the Facebook page. Go to the YouTube channel. Subscribe, like, join, comment, whatever. Go do it, guys. We're here for you. Here to make you money. You check out those platinum packages. That's your best bet. It's always going to be your best bet, but you're always going to have those free picks. And we're always going to do this show for you 100% free. And when I'm making money, you're making money, guys. And we'll keep it going. So we'll be back tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for a Friday slate of games. Got a good set of NBA, NHL, and Major League Baseball tomorrow. So with that said, guys, have a wonderful day. Thanks for joining us. And as always, let's make money. Have a nice day, Facebook. And a great day, YouTube.